A gunman opens fire at a 4th of July parade, killing 7 people and wounding many others. The gunman is later identified as Robert Crimo III.
Robert Crimo was on the lam about 9 hours before police tracked him down in a silver Honda on Route 41 in Lake Forest, Illinois. One witness was with her 12-year-old son.
I just kept telling him, just stay on the ground.
And as Highland Park prepared to bury its dead and treat its wounded, the overturned chairs on Central Avenue, the parade route, became a symbol of violence invading our community traditions once again.
This is the true story of Awake the Rapper.
And this is the true story of the Highland Park Massacre. Robert Crimo, known as Awake the Rapper.
I have memories of him being really distant and cold if anybody did try to talk to him, showing up late for class, not listening to teachers.
The signs were there.
He had a dark mind and had been obsessed with guns and weaponry since I was really young, and would doodle weapons on his notebook, and is a scary, maybe warning sign.
And when you heard the news that it was him, sadly, it wasn't a shock that it was him.
Yes, and I am speaking for myself there, but I do not think it would even be any what of an assumption to say that a lot of other people had very similar responses to me, that we were not surprised.
To the people who knew him, he was one red flag after another. Crimo grew up in an abusive home.
He grew up in a home where his parents regularly called the police on each other, and his mother left him unattended in a car on a hot August day before he was 2.
Reports show Crimo's parents would often drink and become violent.
Police officers visited the Crimo's Highland Park home nearly 20 times between 2009 and 2014.
9 calls were related to domestic violence. No one was ever charged.
One time in 2010, Crimo's father told the police that his wife struck him in the arm with a screwdriver. He later retracted the accusation. No charges were filed.
He owned a popular deli in the city, now closed. Also ran for mayor in 2019.
Robert E. Crimo III went under the name Awake the Rapper and uploaded disturbing videos to YouTube. One of the videos is an animation of an armed shooter being gunned down by police. In other video, there's a shooter with a rifle and a body laying on the ground.
Sources say there were concerns about Bobby Crimo's mental health going back to at least middle school, where he was said to have struggled and was described as a reclusive student. I'm told when the district offered him resources and help, it was declined, and his family opted to homeschool him instead.
There were 2 incidents involving this young man back in late 2019. The first incident happened in April, so I guess the first half of that year. They report, the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force reports that this young man attempted suicide back in April of that year. They were visited by police. The family, mental health professionals were involved at that point. And then 5 months later, in September of that year, there was another very disturbing incident involving the suspected shooter. He threatened to kill family members and was discovered with a large cache of knives. At that time, police removed 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword from his residence. Now, at the time, there were no formal complaints. Police say that there weren't the proper mechanisms in place to have this young man detained. There was not enough probable cause to make an arrest, but there's a lot of questions this evening as to how he was able to purchase reportedly 5 firearms after those 2 events in 2019. So those are questions that have just come up. Those are questions that are just now being processed.
Crimo's social media posts and stick figure drawings revealed a preoccupation with police shootouts.
Crimo was a prolific poster online where he apparently went by the name
Awake the Rapper. His videos foretell his alleged violent acts. In one, he appears to dramatize his school shooting.
I know what I have to do. I know what's in it, not only for me, but for everyone else. Where am I going? I don't know. I don't care. There is no past or future, just the now.
In another video, Crimo appears to animate his own demise in a confrontation with police.
Crimo was an active Trump supporter who attended a rally dressed as Waldo. Crimo dropped out of the Highland Park High School before his junior year.
Crimo also posted a photo on Twitter showing him with a Trump flag on June 27, 2021.
Police say the 22-year-old suspect was known to law enforcement, but one question that will be asked in the days to come, were they aware of the violent videos that have been online for many months?
A July 4th, 2022 parade in Highland Park, Illinois, ended in tragedy after a mass shooting left 6 attendees dead and more than a dozen injured. Crimo wore woman's clothing to conceal his identity and cover up his tattoos. Crimo blended in with the crowd and fled to his mother's residence. Crimo, 21, was charged with killing 7 people and wounding dozens of others in a mass shooting in the suburb's 4th of July parade.
On a rooftop, investigators recovered 3 30-round rifle magazines and 83 spent shell casings. And prosecutors say as Crimo fled, a Smith & Wesson M&P-15 semi-automatic rifle, wrapped in cloth, fell from his black shoulder bag onto the pavement, but Crimo did not retrieve it. After court, a startling allegation. Armed with a second AR-15 style rifle, Crimo allegedly drove to Madison, Wisconsin.
He did see a celebration that was occurring in Madison, and he seriously contemplated using the firearm he had in his vehicle to commit another shooting.
Police say because of a lack of planning, Crimo drove away, ditching his phone in nearby Middleton, Wisconsin. Madison police notified Crimo could be there.
Our SWAT team began the process of mobilization and staging when we were subsequently informed that the suspect was already in custody.
So much still a mystery, including why July 4th.
He had some type of affinity towards the number 4 and 7, and inverse was 7-4. It apparently comes from music that he's interested in.
Crimo entered a plea of not guilty, despite a confession.
Robert Crimo III showed no emotion as the names of those killed were read aloud in court. A judge denying bond after prosecutors said Crimo confessed to the massacre and even identified himself in surveillance video.
He went into details about what he had done. He admitted to what he had done.
We will continue to follow this as the story unfolds.